The sun was low over the dusty sky of Luma 9, a lonely planet where very few people lived. The wind blew fine sand across the metal walkways, and the air smelled like rust and oil. A young man named Ravi walked slowly along the outer rim of the landing station. He wore an old jacket and carried a small toolkit. Every day was the same. Fix broken lights, check the scanners, report nothing. He looked up at the faded sky. Ships did not come here often. The station was quiet. Only the soft humming of machines broke the silence. Ravi had lived here for 3 years. He never expected anything strange to happen. But today felt different. A sudden power flicker made the lights blink. The air grew colder. Ravi turned around. Behind the old hangar, near the edge of the supply yard, a thick mist was rising. He had never seen fog like that on this dry planet. He walked toward it, slowly and carefully. Then he heard it. Footsteps. Fast. Light. Someone was running. Before he could react, a figure came out of the fog. She stumbled, breathing hard, her silver hair shining even in the dim light. She looked no older than 17. Her skin was pale with faint glowing lines, like quiet rivers of light. Her eyes were wide with fear. She looked at him, then quickly stepped behind him. Her voice was soft and shaky. "Please don't let them take me." Ravi froze. He didn't understand who she was or why she was hiding, but her words felt real, honest. He turned his head slightly and whispered, "Who are you?" She didn't answer. Her body was trembling. From the fog, loud, heavy footsteps came closer. Not like hers. These sounded sharp and metal. Ravi stepped forward just a little and peeked around the corner. 2 tall figures in dark suits moved through the smoke. They wore black armor with red symbols. Their helmets glowed blue. They held long scanning rods and moved in a slow search pattern. One of them pointed toward the hangar. "She came this way. Keep scanning. Do not let her reach any local," the voice said through a speaker. Ravi's heart began to race. He turned back to the girl. "You're being hunted," he whispered. She nodded. "What did you do?" "I ran." Her answer was simple, but her eyes said more. Ravi didn't know what to do. He was just a worker. No soldier, no fighter. But something deep inside told him not to let them take her. She looked scared, lost, and alone. "This way," he said, grabbing her hand. He pulled her toward the junkyard behind the station. The broken parts of old ships and machines were stacked high, forming a maze. Perfect for hiding. They ducked behind a tall stack of engine coils. The girl followed without question. As they moved deeper into the maze, Ravi heard the soldiers shouting, "Scan every section! She's close!" The girl's breathing was fast. Her skin glowed brighter now, not strong, but enough for Ravi to see her face more clearly. She looked tired. Her clothes were thin and torn, not from battle, but from running, long and far. "We need to stop," she said, barely standing. "Almost there," Ravi replied. He led her to an old shuttle that hadn't flown in years. Its doors were broken, but the inside was still dry. They climbed in and closed the hatch, as best they could. Dust filled the air. Ravi sat beside her, listening carefully. The sounds outside grew louder, then silence. For a moment, he thought they were safe. Then a soft humming noise passed overhead. A drone, small but powerful. It scanned heat, movement, even sound. Ravi held his breath. The girl closed her eyes. Her skin glowed again, a little brighter this time. The drone paused above them, then slowly flew away. Ravi blinked. "What did you do?" he asked. "I hid us," she said. "For now." Ravi looked at her carefully. "Are you human?" She shook her head. "I was made, not born. I don't know where I come from, but they call me a glow. I don't know why." Ravi leaned back. Nothing made sense. But something in her voice was real, honest. like she was telling the truth, even if she didn't fully understand it herself. He looked at her again. "My name is Ravi," he said. She looked at him and gave a small smile. "I'm Neera." Outside, the soldiers were still searching, but Ravi knew one thing now. He couldn't let them find her. He didn't understand who she was or what she could do, but she needed help, and he was the only one who had given it. He looked out the small window of the shuttle. The sky was getting darker. Stars were beginning to appear, and for the first time in years, something had changed on Luma 9. He had met someone who didn't belong here, someone being hunted, someone with a secret, and he had chosen to protect her, even if it meant trouble, even if it meant running too. The old shuttle was quiet. Ravi and Neera sat close together inside, listening for any sound outside. For a long moment, everything was still. Then a voice shouted from far away, "Clear this section. We'll move to the outer yard next." Ravi looked at Neera. "They're moving. We don't have much time." She nodded. Her silver hair had fallen over her face. She pushed it back gently. Her glowing marks were starting to fade, but her eyes still held fear. She leaned against the metal wall of the shuttle, trying to breathe calmly. Ravi stood up and checked the small window. He saw the shadows of 2 soldiers walking away. The drones had moved farther, scanning new rows of broken ships. "We need to get out of here," Ravi whispered. "They'll search this place again soon." Neera sat up slowly. Her legs were still weak, but she nodded. "Where can we go?" "I have a place. It's hidden. Not far from here." He reached for the side panel of the shuttle and pulled a lever. The door opened with a creak. Dust swirled in the cold air. Ravi stepped out and looked around. No one was nearby. He waved for Neera to follow. They began to move between the piles of metal. Rusted engines, broken solar wings, old landing gear, junk from 100 old ships surrounded them. Ravi knew this place well. He had spent years exploring it, but now every corner felt dangerous. "Stay low," he said. "Move when I move." Neera followed him closely. Her steps were soft. Her eyes kept watching the shadows. Somewhere above, the drone buzzed again, moving in a wide circle. Ravi paused behind a tall pile of metal doors. He pulled Neera down beside him. "They're using thermal scans," he whispered. Neera closed her eyes. Her skin glowed again, just for a moment. "I can block them, but only for a little while." Ravi looked at her, surprised. "You can really do that?" She nodded. "It's not perfect, but they won't see us right now." Ravi didn't ask how. He just grabbed her hand again and moved. They ran between stacks of scrap, careful to stay in the shadows. The wind blew harder, sending sand into the air. It helped hide their path. Suddenly, a sharp sound cracked through the yard. A light beam shot down from above. One of the drones had spotted movement near the far side. Ravi ducked, pulling Neera behind a broken wing. He peeked out. 2 soldiers were closing in on that area, but they were heading in the wrong direction. It gave them a small window to escape. "This way," Ravi said. He led her to a wide vent near the edge of the yard. It was old and half buried, but it still led to a tunnel that connected to his work shed. He pulled open the grate and helped Neera crawl inside. "It's tight," he said, "but it's safe." They moved through the narrow tunnel, crawling on hands and knees. The air was stale, but it was better than facing the soldiers. After a few minutes, they reached the other side. Ravi pushed open the exit and stepped into a dark room filled with tools, wires, and spare parts. "This is my place," he said. "Not much, but no one comes here." Neera looked around. She sat on a low bench and let out a tired breath. "It's warm," she said softly. Ravi gave her a blanket and a bottle of water. She drank slowly, her hands shaking a little. He sat down across from her. "You said you were made," Ravi said, "not born." What does that mean? Nira looked down. I don't know the full truth, she said. But I remember a place. White walls, bright lights, people in coats. They ran tests. They called us glows, said we were tools, not people. Her voice was quiet. Ravi listened without speaking. Some of us could fix broken plants. Others could stop machines. I could block signals. They said I was useful. But then something happened. One of us escaped. They panicked. They started locking everyone up. I got scared. So I ran. Ravi's eyes stayed on her. He had heard rumors of secret labs, hidden experiments, but he never thought they were real. Now one of them sat right in front of him. You're not a tool, he said. You're a person. You didn't ask to be made. Nira gave a small smile. You're the first person to say that. Ravi stood and walked to a small panel on the wall. He opened it and checked a screen. It showed local scanners. One of the dots blinked red. They're still looking, he said, but they haven't found the tunnel. Nira looked out the small window. The stars were brighter now. I don't want to run forever, she said. I want to find others like me, help them. We'll figure something out, Ravi said. For now, you need rest. Nira nodded. She lay down on the bench and pulled the blanket over her. The glow in her skin faded almost completely. Soon, she was asleep. Ravi sat nearby watching the EB scanner. His heart still beat fast. Everything had changed. Yesterday he was just a worker fixing machines. Now he was hiding someone with powers. Someone being hunted. He looked at Nira. She had trusted him without knowing him. He had done the same. Outside, the wind blew sand against the walls. The drone buzzed in the distance. But inside the small workshop it was quiet. Safe for now. The next morning on Luma 9 was calm, but cold. The sky was pale with thin clouds stretching over the distant hills. The sound of the wind was soft, brushing gently against the metal walls of Ravi's small workshop. Inside, everything was still. Nira was awake before Ravi. She sat quietly on the bench, holding a warm cup in her hands. Steam rose from it slowly. She looked out the window with thoughtful eyes. Her silver hair rested on her shoulders, and the soft lines on her skin glowed faintly. Not bright, just enough to remind Ravi she was not from this world. You didn't sleep much, Ravi said as he stood up from the floor where he had rested. I slept enough, Nira replied. I'm used to waking early. We were never allowed to sleep long. Ravi didn't press further. He could see the sadness in her eyes. He moved toward the back of the room and brought out a small plate with bread and fruit. He placed it beside her. Eat something. You need your strength. Nira gave him a soft nod and picked up a slice of bread. While she ate, Ravi turned on the scanner again. The screen blinked quietly. The red dots had moved farther from the junkyard. It seemed the soldiers had searched through the night and found nothing. They're still here, he said. But not close. We may have a little time. Nira looked at the screen, then at Ravi. Why are you helping me? Ravi thought about the question. It had been in his mind, too. I don't know, he said honestly. Maybe because I saw fear in your eyes. Maybe because no one else would. Maybe because you asked. Nira looked at him for a moment, then gave a quiet smile. Thank you. They sat in silence for a while. Then Nira spoke again. There's something I need to show you. She stood and reached into the folds of her torn jacket. From it, she pulled out a small, round crystal. It glowed faintly, like the marks on her skin. She placed it gently on the table. This holds the last memory of my sister, she said. She escaped before me. She left this behind. Ravi leaned in as Nira touched the crystal. A soft light spread across the room. Images floated in the air. A young girl stood in a large white room, her eyes calm, her voice steady. She spoke in a soft language that Ravi didn't understand, but Neera translated for him. She said, "We were made to bring life, not death. That we were born from the stars, but meant for the soil. That the humans who created us forgot why." The image shifted. Rows of children stood in lines, glowing like Neera. Then soldiers came. Doors slammed. Lights turned red. The children vanished one by one. Neera touched the crystal again, and the light faded. "That was the last time I saw her," she said. She tried to warn the others, but it was too late. Ravi sat back in his chair. His mind was spinning. "So, you're not the only one." "No," Neera said. "There are more. Or there were. I don't know how many are still alive. Some may be hidden. Some may still be locked away." Ravi stood and walked to the far wall. He opened a panel and pulled out a map of nearby systems. He laid it on the table. "Do you know where they might be?" Neera looked over the map. Her finger moved slowly over the names. Then she pointed to a small, empty moon near the edge of the map. "Here. Velen." It was spoken of in whispers, a place no one goes. My sister said the answers might be there. Ravi knew the name. Velen was a forgotten place. No trade, no cities, just stories of silence and old machines buried under the ground. "You want to go there?" "I need to," Neera said. "If she went there, maybe others did too. Maybe I can find out why we were made." Ravi looked at her. "There's a problem. I don't have a ship." "I do," Neera said softly. Ravi raised his eyebrows. "What?" "In the base I escaped from," she explained, "there was a small ship, old but working. I stole its key. I hid it in a pod and sent it off before I ran. It landed somewhere outside the southern ridge. I can call it back, but it takes power." Ravi nodded. "Then we'll need to reach the tower." The signal tower was an old relay station up on the cliffside, used long ago for mining messages. It still worked, but just barely. Most people ignored it. That made it perfect. "It's risky," Ravi said, "but if we move tonight, we can reach it before morning. We'll have to stay low." Neera agreed. "We can do it, together." Ravi smiled. "Then we better get ready." He packed his tools, added food and water, and checked the small scanner again. The soldiers were still moving in wide circles. None had come near his workshop yet. That evening, as the sky turned orange, Ravi gave Neera a long coat and helped her tie back her hair. Her glow had dimmed for now. She looked more human than before, though her eyes still carried something otherworldly. As they stepped out into the wind, Ravi looked at the stars above. Somewhere out there, answers waited. And maybe something more. He didn't know what they would find on Velen. But he knew one thing for sure. He was no longer alone. And neither was she. The night air was cold as Ravi and Neera moved across the open land near the southern ridge of Luma 9. Stars filled the sky above them like quiet eyes watching from far away. Their boots made soft sounds on the dusty ground. Ravi kept checking. A small handheld scanner. So far, the area was clear. No drones, no soldiers. They were heading toward the old signal tower on the hill. If they could reach it, Neera could send out the call to her hidden ship. From there, they would fly to Velen. The moon, she believed, held the answers about her kind. Neera walked beside Ravi in silence. Her coat covered most of her glowing lines. Her face looked calm, but her eyes stayed alert. Every now and then, she would glance over her shoulder. Ravi noticed. "Are you sensing something?" "No," she said, "but I've learned to never feel safe for too long." They crossed a stretch of broken land where old mining drills once stood. Most had fallen over with age. Metal scraps lay scattered across the sand. As they stepped around a large rusted pipe, Ravi suddenly froze. A figure stood up from behind a stack of metal. Ravi reached for a wrench hanging from his belt, ready to protect Neera. But then the figure raised both hands. "It's me," the man said. "Don't move." The voice was familiar. Ravi stepped forward slowly. "Kale?" The man nodded. He removed the hood from his coat. It was indeed Kale, a former soldier from Ravi's past. Years ago, they had worked together before. Kale left the station. Ravi had not seen him in a long time. "What are you doing here?" Ravi asked. "I came to warn you," Kale said, stepping closer. "You're in more danger than you know." Ravi looked at Neera. She stood quietly beside him. "She's not what they say," Ravi said. "I know," Kale replied. "That's why I'm here." He looked at Neera for a long moment. His eyes showed no hate, no fear, only concern. "I saw what they did in the labs," Kale said. "I was part of the protection force for one of the research sites, but it wasn't protection. It was a cage. They treated those like her as things to use. Some of us spoke out. We were pushed out or sent to distant posts." "You knew?" Ravi asked. Kale nodded. "Not everything, but enough to know this isn't right." Neera stepped forward. "Why are you warning us now?" "Because they've brought a scanner ship," Kale said. "It will arrive by morning. It can scan every heat source, every signal, every energy wave, even the one from your crystal. If you don't leave soon, they'll find you." "We're heading to the signal tower," Ravi said. "She can call her ship from there." Kale shook his head. "The tower is too close to the main sweep zone. If you power it up, they'll see it." "Then what do we do?" Ravi asked. Kale pointed east. "There's an old outpost 5 kilometers from here, hidden under the rock. It has a deep relay antenna underground. It still works. It was used during the mining days. No one remembers it now." "Can you take us there?" Neera asked. Kale paused. Then he nodded. "I can take you halfway. After that, the path is too narrow for more than 2 people." Ravi and Neera looked at each other. Time was running out. "Let's move," Ravi said. They followed Kale along the edge of the ridge, moving between stone walls and abandoned equipment. The sky began to shift from deep black to soft gray. Dawn was near. After an hour of quiet walking, they reached a sharp path that led between 2 tall rocks. Kale stopped. "This is where I leave you," he said. "Follow the path. You'll see a flat stone with 2 marks. Beneath it is the hatch. Use this." He handed Ravi a small tool. "It will open the door. After that, it's all up to you." Ravi took the tool. "What will you do?" Kale looked back the way they came. "I'll go back. Lead them away if I can. Maybe give you more time." Neera stepped forward. "Why are you helping us?" Kale gave a faint smile. "Because long ago someone helped me when I had nothing. I never forgot that. I don't want to see another mistake grow into something worse." He turned and walked back into the darkness. Ravi and Neera moved forward along the path. The sun was starting to rise. Soft orange light touched the stones. Soon they reached the flat stone Kale had described. Ravi found the marks and placed the tool into a hidden slot. A soft click echoed. The stone slid open, revealing stairs that led into the ground. They climbed down carefully. The air inside was cold and still. At the bottom, they found a small control room covered in dust. Neera placed the glowing crystal into a slot on the main console. Lights flickered to life. The room hummed. She touched the panel, and her fingers moved across the symbols. A soft tone filled the space. The signal was sent. "It's done," she said. "The ship will come." Ravi looked at her. Her eyes were calm now. "You're getting closer to the truth," Neera nodded, "and closer to danger." Ravi stood beside her. "You're not alone." Outside, the sun rose over Luma 9. Somewhere far above, the scanner ship was arriving. But underground, 2 souls stood together, ready for what was coming next. The sky of Luma 9 was filled with smoke trails as the scanner ship searched every corner of the land. But by the time it locked onto the signal from the old outpost, Ravi and Nira were already far away. Above the clouds, a small silver ship sliced through the atmosphere like a quiet arrow. It had no markings, no sound, and no lights, just smooth metal and steady flight. It had come in response to Nira's signal. She had called it from her hidden crystal, and it had listened. Now they sat, side by side in the silent cockpit. Nira looked out at the stars, her hands resting gently on the controls. Ravi sat beside her, watching her face. The soft lines on her skin glowed faintly in the dim cabin light. "Are you sure the ship will take us to Velin?" Ravi asked. Nira nodded. "It's part of the old program. It knows where to go. It's already set." Ravi leaned back in the seat. He had never been this far from home. He had never left Luma 9 before. But he had no fear. He trusted her. Hours passed as they moved through space. No other ships followed. No alarms sounded. The stars slowly shifted, until a pale gray moon appeared ahead. "There it is," Nira said. "Velin." The moon looked lifeless. No lights, no stations. Just a quiet gray surface filled with deep lines and large craters. But there was something peaceful about it. Something still. The ship landed near a flat area surrounded by tall rock formations. Dust rose in slow clouds as the legs touched the ground. Nira stood up and opened the door. Cold wind rushed in. Ravi stepped out behind her. The land was silent. No birds, no insects, no machines, just the soft sound of the wind and the crunch of dust beneath their boots. They walked together, across the open plain. The sky above was pale blue, and two small stars hung like dots in the distance. Nira led the way. "There's something here," she said. "I feel it." They moved between stone pillars that seemed shaped by ancient hands. At the center of the field, they found a half-buried structure. It was round, with smooth walls and a glowing line that circled the top. A doorway stood open, leading into darkness. "This is it," Nira said. She stepped inside. Ravi followed her without question. Inside, the walls were lined with soft lights. Strange symbols glowed faintly, matching the patterns on Nira's skin. The air felt thick but warm. It didn't feel like a trap. It felt like something waiting to be remembered. At the center of the chamber stood a tall crystal, the same shape as the one Nira carried. She walked up to it and placed her hand on the surface. The crystal pulsed once, then glowed. A voice filled the room. Calm, gentle, familiar. "Child of the glow," the voice said. "You have returned." Nira stepped back, eyes wide. "That voice, it's her, my sister." A soft image appeared above the crystal. It showed Nira's sister standing in the same chamber, her hand also touching the crystal. Her voice continued. "If you are seeing this, then you escaped. Then you are free. I found this place and I learned the truth." The image changed. It showed glowing children standing on green worlds, healing plants, fixing rivers, bringing life to dying places. We were made to restore what was lost, to help the stars grow green again. But fear changed their hearts. They turned our gifts into weapons. The image shifted again. Now soldiers stood in labs, machines were connected to children, and wires ran through their skin. But the glow cannot be used with hate. It fades when forced. It grows only with peace. The image faded. The room grew quiet again. Nira stood still for a long time. "She was right," she said. "They tried to use us, but they couldn't understand us." Ravi stepped beside her. "You're not a weapon. You're a healer." Nira looked around the chamber. "This place remembers us. It holds our story. It's not just a shelter. It's a message." What kind of message? Ravi asked. That we belong, she said. That we came from something beautiful. That we can still return to it. She walked to the far side of the room and touched another panel. A soft hum filled the air. Outside, the wind changed. From the ground around the structure, soft green light rose from the soil. Tiny plants began to grow, breaking through the dust. Ravi watched in awe. You're bringing life back. Neera turned to him. Not just me. The planet remembers too. It was waiting. They spent the next hours walking around the land. Wherever Neera placed her hand, the ground warmed. Flowers bloomed. Water formed in small pools. Velen was not dead. It was asleep. And Neera was waking it. As the sun dipped behind the rocks, Ravi built a small shelter near the ship. Neera sat nearby, her eyes glowing softly under the darkening sky. I think this place was built by the first glows, she said. Before they were taken. Before the labs. Maybe they tried to hide. Then we'll make sure their memory isn't lost, Ravi said. Neera smiled. We're not finished. Yet, she said. There are more out there. Like me. Hiding, scared, alone. Then we find them, Ravi said. And bring them here. She looked at him, her eyes bright. Together? He nodded. Always. Above them, the stars blinked gently. A planet, once silent, had begun to whisper again. And in that quiet land, a new hope had taken root. The sky above Velen was calm, and the land had started to change. The dry surface that once looked dead now showed signs of life. Small green plants moved gently in the wind. Pools of clear water reflected the light from two small suns. Birds, that had not been heard in years, began to return. It was like the planet had been waiting for someone to wake it up. Neera sat near one of the growing fields. Her hand rested on the soil, and her soft glow pulsed in rhythm with the ground. She didn't speak, but her eyes were calm, peaceful, strong. Ravi stood nearby, holding a small device. It was an old transmitter pulled from the ship's storage. He had repaired it the day before. Now he was adjusting the final settings. This should work, he said. It's not perfect, but it can send a message across the outer systems. People will hear it. Neera looked at him. Will they listen? Some will, Ravi said. Maybe not the leaders. But the people? Yes, if they see the truth. He placed the transmitter on a rock and connected the power cell. A soft light blinked. Then a camera eye turned toward Neera. She stood slowly and took a deep breath. I'm ready, she said. Ravi nodded. He pressed the button. The recording began. Neera looked into the lens. Her voice was clear and steady. My name is Neera. I was created in a lab, trained in silence and locked behind doors. They called me a tool. They called me a test. But I am more. She lifted her hand. A small flower bloomed in her palm, glowing, softly. I was made to heal, to help, to grow, not to fight, not to destroy. Behind her, the green field swayed in the wind. Trees now stood where only rocks had been before. You fear what you do not understand. But we are not your enemy. We only want to live, to find peace, to bring back what was lost. She stepped back. Ravi ended the recording. He sent the message across 5 major channels. Then he uploaded it to the old systems that still floated, near trade stations. The message would travel. It would be seen. Later that night, they sat beside the small fire outside their shelter. The stars above were bright. Ravi looked at Neera. Do you think the others will find us? They will feel it, Neera said. Just like I felt this place. The glow connects us. Even far away, we can hear its call. Ravi nodded. I believe you. The next morning, the signal replies began to come. Small messages, simple words. We saw her. Where is this place? Is she real? Can she help us too? More messages followed each hour. Some were from workers, some from teachers, some from people who had seen the glows in their dreams but thought they were only stories. Ravi read them aloud to Neera, and her smile grew with each one. Then one message came from a hidden ship. We escaped. There are 3 of us. We need a safe place. Help us. Neera stood up. They're coming. Ravi looked at the map. The signal came from a nearby system. He pointed to the sky. We can reach them. We still have enough fuel. But just as they prepared the ship, another signal arrived. This one was different. Cold, sharp, official. By order of the Central Core Alliance, surrender the subject at once. All non-approved transmissions must end. Violation will bring full action. Ravi read the message. His jaw tightened. They found us. Neera stepped closer. They won't understand. They will come with fear again. Ravi shook his head. Then we don't run. We show them. They powered up the ship and flew toward the meeting point. In the open space above Valen's edge, 3 smaller ships were waiting. Ravi guided their ship gently toward them. On board the lead ship were 3 young beings. Like Neera, their skin had soft, glowing lines. Their eyes were tired, but hopeful. When the 2 ships connected, Neera stepped onto their deck. The others looked at her in silence. You're real, one of them said. We thought we were the last. You're not, Neera said. We found a place, a safe place. Come with us. The 3 followed her back to Velen. Ravi watched from the hilltop as they walked together across the green field. He knew what was coming. More glows would come. But so would others. Some would want to stop them. Some would try to hide the truth. But the truth had already begun to spread. That night, hundreds of people across different systems watched the broadcast of Neera's message. Some cried. Some questioned everything they had been told. Some simply listened. On a space station far from Velen, a group of leaders sat in silence. One of them turned off the screen. We have a problem, he said. People are beginning to believe her. Another nodded. She's dangerous. A third leader, older and quiet, leaned forward. Not dangerous, powerful and free. Silence filled the room. Back on Velen, Neera looked up at the stars. More were coming. Friends, enemies. The future was opening. But she was not afraid. She had Ravi. She had others like her, and she had hope. The quiet night on Velen was filled with soft lights from the growing fields. More glows had arrived, each carrying the faint glow that marked their kind. They walked slowly, learning the new land and finding strength in each other. The planet no longer felt alone. Neera stood on a small hill, looking out at the horizon. The stars were bright and clear. Far away, ships moved across the sky. Some came to join them, others to watch. All eyes were on Velen now. Beside Neera stood Ravi. He looked tired but calm. The journey had been long, and the future was uncertain. But he believed in what they had built. Suddenly, a soft beep came from the communication device. Ravi picked it up. A message appeared on the screen. It was from the Central Core Alliance. You must surrender the glows and stop all resistance. This is your final warning. Neera read the message carefully. She turned to Ravi. They want us to give up, to forget who we are. Ravi shook his head. We will not. The leaders of the glows gathered around. They spoke quietly, sharing fears and hopes. Some wanted to fight. Some wanted to run. But Neera spoke with calm strength. We have a choice, she said. We can hide in fear, or we can stand and show who we are. The stars made us for more than silence. Her words moved the group. Slowly, the glows nodded. "We will not surrender," said one of the older glows. "But we will not start a war," Nira smiled softly. "We show them peace." Ravi looked at her. "How?" Nira stepped forward. "We send a message, a new message, one that tells the truth, one that shows we are not enemies." Together they prepared the broadcast. Nira stood before the camera, her glow soft and warm. "People of the stars," she said, "we are the glows. We were made to heal and grow. We ask only for peace. We ask only to live." The message spread across the systems. It touched hearts. Some saw fear, but many saw hope. Days passed. The Central Core Alliance did not attack. Instead, they sent diplomats. They wanted to talk. Nira met with them in the large hall on Veline. The room was filled with light and green plants. The diplomats looked serious but curious. One spoke first. "You have shown great courage. The galaxy needs healing, but many fear change." Nira nodded. "Fear is natural, but so is hope. We offer both." The talks continued for weeks. Slowly, the glows and the Alliance found ways to work together. The truth about the labs and the glows was shared. Promises were made. Back on Veline, the fields grew taller, the air grew warmer. The planet that was once silent now hummed with life. One evening, Nira and Ravi stood together on the hill again. The stars were bright above them. "Did you ever think it would be like this?" Ravi asked. Nira smiled. "I hoped. I believed." Ravi took her hand. "We chose the stars, and they chose us." Nira looked at the glowing plants around them. "This is only the beginning." They stood quietly, watching the new dawn of a future born from trust and courage.